London Heathrow's much-anticipated third runway is finally likely to get the go-ahead. Here's why it matters. London's aviation market isn't just busy. It's one of the most competitive and strategically important in the world. With 6 airports and over 150 million annual passengers, it serves as Europe's premier aviation hub, connecting the UK to every corner of the globe. But at the heart of it all lies Heathrow Airport. And at the heart of Heathrow is British Airways. For decades, BA has enjoyed an enviable position, using its dominance at the UK's most important airport to shape not just its own success, but the global aviation landscape. But cracks are beginning to show. Heathrow is at full capacity, passenger demand keeps growing, and the conversation about additional runways and expanded airport capacity has become more urgent than ever. The decisions made in the coming years will reshape the dynamics of the London market for decades to come, create opportunities for some airlines, and threaten the dominance of others. As the busiest airport in Europe and one of the most capacity-constrained, it's both a prized asset and a bottleneck for growth. With only 2 runways, Heathrow handles almost 500,000 aircraft movements per year, squeezing as much efficiency as possible out of its limited infrastructure. This makes runway slots at Heathrow some of the most valuable in the world. Airlines have paid tens of millions of pounds to acquire them. British Airways, as the largest operator, controls over 50% of these coveted slots. This dominance is what makes Heathrow BA's golden goose. The airport's prime location, just 23 kilometres from central London, attracts a high proportion of premium passengers, particularly business travellers who are less price-sensitive and more likely to book lucrative first and business class tickets. For BA, this means higher yields, greater profits, and a crucial advantage over competitors who operate out of the less prestigious London airports. Take Virgin Atlantic, BA's longtime rival. Virgin also relies on Heathrow for its core routes, but it has only a fraction of the slots BA controls. This limits its ability to compete on frequency, one of the most critical factors for capturing business travel. Why? Because business travellers prefer more schedule options. Consider this. BA can offer multiple daily flights to key destinations like New York, Hong Kong, and Singapore, whereas Virgin often operates just 1 or 2. This frequency dominance reinforces BA's market share and deters challengers. Heathrow's capacity constraints also prevent new entrants from making a significant impact. Low-cost carriers like Ryanair and EasyJet have largely been locked out of Heathrow, forcing them to focus on other London airports like Stansted, Luton, and Gatwick. This has allowed BA to maintain a virtual monopoly on short-haul premium travel to and from Heathrow, where business travellers often prefer convenience and speed over cost savings. But the pressure is mounting. Heathrow's 2 runways are running at 98% capacity, and demand for flights continues to grow. The UK's aviation market is expected to expand by 70% by 2050, yet without additional capacity, Heathrow will be unable to handle this surge. Enter the long-debated third runway. At this point, now with renewed enthusiasm, it looks inevitable. The hotly contested project is being seen by the British government as critical for the UK's long-term economic growth. But Heathrow's expansion plans, which include a third runway and an increase in passenger capacity from 80 million to over 130 million annually, have been in the works for decades. Proponents argue that the third runway is essential for maintaining Heathrow's status as a global hub, boosting the UK economy and accommodating growing demand. It would allow more airlines to access Heathrow, increase competition, and potentially drive down prices. For BA, though, the third runway is a double-edged sword. On one hand, additional capacity could allow the airline to expand its operations, adding new destinations and increasing frequency on existing routes. On the other hand, it opens the door to greater competition. New slots could enable low-cost carriers or long-haul challengers to gain a foothold at Heathrow, eroding BA's dominance and putting downward pressure on fares. Meanwhile, Gatwick Airport, London's second largest, has been positioning itself as a viable alternative to Heathrow. Gatwick has long lobbied for its own expansion, proposing an additional runway to increase capacity. While Gatwick lacks the prestige and premium traffic of Heathrow, it's already Europe's busiest single-runway airport and has carved out a niche as a hub for low-cost carriers and leisure routes. An expanded Gatwick is also now likely to happen, as the project is largely privately funded. It could siphon off more traffic from Heathrow, especially if Heathrow's third runway faces further delays. For airlines like EasyJet and Wizz Air, a second runway at Gatwick would provide much-needed capacity to grow in the London market, creating more competition for BA on short-haul routes. But it's not just the airports that will shape the future of London's aviation market. It's also geopolitical and economic factors. Post-Brexit trade deals, passenger demand from emerging markets, and the rise of ultra-long-haul aircraft like the Boeing 787 and Airbus A350 are changing the dynamics of global aviation. These new planes enable airlines to bypass hubs like Heathrow, flying directly between secondary cities, which could further undermine BA's dominance. Then there's the sustainability question. Expanding airport capacity is controversial, with critics citing environmental concerns and the UK's commitment to reducing carbon emissions. Heathrow's expansion has faced fierce opposition from environmental groups, local residents, and even some politicians. How these challenges are addressed will play a key role in determining the pace and scale of growth in London's aviation market. So, what happens next? In the short term, Heathrow will remain BA's golden goose, a fortress hub that ensures high yields and limited competition. But the long-term picture is less certain. If Heathrow's third runway is built, BA will need to defend its position against new entrants eager to challenge its dominance. If Gatwick expands instead, BA could face increasing pressure from low-cost competitors operating from the south of London. One thing is clear: the London aviation market will remain a fascinating chessboard of alliances, competition, and strategic maneuvers. British Airways has long enjoyed its position at the top, but with growing demand, potential capacity expansion, and new players vying for a piece of the pie, the game is far from over. Whether you're flying out of Heathrow, Gatwick, or beyond, the stakes in London's skies have never been higher. YouTube thinks you'll like this video. Click here to find out. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.